Psychological operations are in effect. Now, guys, psychological operations have been in effect probably since the Egyptian times, right? So it's not anything new. But we're going to talk about now the constant divide that they want to keep between us so that we don't band together to, I don't know, overthrow the government for the nonsense that they're releasing with the Epstein files. We should be in the streets tearing it up right now because, after all, people did go to war with their cities over a drug addict. But now the Epstein files are being released, and now there's a lot of heinous things in those files, and yet no one's doing anything. Everybody's like, wait a second. Let's see where this goes. Oh, that can't be real. That has to be fake. Depending on who it is, it's going to be real or fake, right? If it's the Lord Trump, it's fake. If it's Bill Gates, got to be real, right? You see what I mean? Like, Fauci, I don't think was mentioned in those files. At least I didn't see he was mentioned. But any other name that's mentioned in there, oh, there has to be something to it. There are people names that are just mentioned and they're stepping down from their position, apologizing, told to resign. All right. But now with the psychological operation that we saw, that we all went through together, which was the Mr. 19 event, COVID. They sat there and they had people in social authorities, that's celebrities, politicians, social media influencers, going on their channels or their social media accounts and telling us that this thing was really bad and a lot of people were passing away. In fact, the news had the ticker tape thing at the bottom telling us the amount of people that were passing away day by day. And every day, or rather, it looked like almost every minute or two, the number went up. And so they sat there convincing us that this thing was deadly when it most likely wasn't. Now, there was a study being done. I'm not sure if it was released yet, but they were looking, or rather they were stating that the numbers might have been fluffed, that they might have fluffed the numbers a lot higher to make it look like more people were passing away, to see how many people they can keep in their homes and scared. And they sure enough did, because some of you remember my older videos when I went out there to Times Square at night and there was no one out in the streets because everybody was scared. Psychological operations. These people were talking and saying the same exact thing. They were given a speech and they were told to say the same exact thing. In fact, there were montages from news channels almost all over America stating the same exact words about the Mr. 19 events. Stay in your home. Stay 6 feet apart from each other. Make sure you wash your hands. Do this. But they were saying it exactly the same way and almost the same tempo. Because apparently, guys, when you learn about speech and talking and holding talking engagements like TED Talks, you have to have a tempo that reaches people or gets people excited, right? Puts them on notice if you have a tempo. And it's sort of like a trance. Like you have a certain tempo, it gets people in the trance. And if you say it a certain way, it gets people attention. If that makes sense. There's a term for it, but I can't remember what it was. But if you hit that tempo, you talk the same way, people listen. That being said, they did that throughout the entire Mr. 19 event. Then, a year later or so, they introduced something that we didn't need, the arm ticket. And so with that, they have people take this nonsense and again, verbatimly, they repeated another speech that they were given by probably the elites or the government, and they needed these people to say, we want you to take this. This will stop Mr. 19 in his tracks. It will have people come outside and visit their loved ones. You're going to be protecting elderly and younger people. Remember that speech? It was verbatim on every social media account, every news channel, every politician, every celebrity. Again, people with social authority. And these people repeated this over and over again. Now, they're using the same exact tactic to brainwash people into believing who's the enemy of the Epstein file and who's not. We're seeing the same cadence. We're seeing the same speeches being done. You have Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Trump's cronies, stating the same thing, that, well, Trump is not in trouble, or rather Trump is not on the list and Trump is not being accused of anything. Meanwhile, there's sworn affidavits and he's mentioned 38,000 times in there. They try to sit there and tell us, well, Bill Gates was mentioned more than 1,000. You're going to split, you're going to pick up the man who was mentioned over 1,000 times versus the man who's mentioned over 38,000 times. But they're using that same cadence to create division. And you have the, I guess, right-leaning channels stating the same shit. But then you have the left-leaning channels trying to counter that with their cadence and saying he was mentioned in there 38,000 times. Why isn't anybody getting him in trouble? Sort of like what I'm saying, but they're like, he's definitely X, Y, and Z. They're using the same shit and they're pitting us against one another. Except for I'm more in the middle because I can see through the left's bullshit. I can see through the right's bullshit. The problem is somebody has to get in trouble and no one's getting in trouble. All of these names that are being mentioned, they're just stepping down from positions. They're resigning. They're just going quiet. They're going into their basements. They're hiding, but no one's getting locked up. Why is that? Well, because the psychological operation is to convince us that these people really didn't do anything that bad. They have TV shows that are now introducing more and more of kids being kidnapped or being sacrificed to the devil himself, Satan. They have these things going on, and they sort of try to do it in a joking manner. And they try to say it in a joking manner. And so now we're looking at the files and going, this can't be real. They joke about it all the time. So now people are displacing this thing that's really happening and saying it can't be real because George Bush eating little children, right? Trump doing X, Y, and Z with this little person. Psychological operation is brainwashing everyone. And that's the part of psychological operation too, is that it brainwashes people. So now people are sitting there going, no, there's no way that could be. There's no way that he did this. There's no way she did that. Meanwhile, these people are doing it. But because it sounds so outlandish, people are not going to believe it. Because their Lord and Savior, Trump or Obama or Biden, they couldn't have done this. That's not them. A lot of you idiots are behaving like you know these people. That's what's more infuriating, I think, than anything else. The fact that so many people are behaving like they know Trump. There are so many people behaving like they know Kamala Harris and Biden. You don't know these fucking people. They're on a camera. They're reading a script. They're selling us a lie. They're actors. They're probably paid actors, a lot of these people. But we sit there and act like we know them. The celebrity dies. I grew up with him. I know him so well. No, you don't. Granted, a lot of your actors you like because you grew up with them and you watched their skill, but you don't know what they were behind closed doors. You don't know if they were diddling their kids. You don't know if they like eating spam, because that's disgusting. You know these people personally. You cannot pretend to know politicians like they're your friends. That's what infuriates me about people on the left and the right. These people pretend like they know them. You don't know these fucking people. You never will. And then when shit like this comes out, you sit there and go, there's no way they could have did that. Are you fucking kidding me? These people are the most savage, evil people in the world. Politicians, as a whole, all of them, all over the world. Not just Republicans, not just the left, not conservatives, not the taxation party, not the worker class party. All of them. The psychological operation, guys, is to keep us brainwashed and to keep us divided. And I do not understand why people don't know that or understand that. This is the one thing I understand about psychological operations and people falling for it. There are a lot of people who do not want to be ostracized. There are a lot of people who do not want to be cut off or kept away from groups of people. That is why so many people probably went along with the whole COVID and arm ticket thing, because they didn't want to sit there in the cold and be standing by themselves while their friends are having a good time indoors, eating, and parties. They wanted to feel included. Well, guess what? Fuck that. I don't want to be included in any of this shit because this shit is getting bad. And the more people, guys, are now starting to be scared about talking about Israel or against Israel. Because now people are convinced that Israel's a fucking great country and we need to protect them. Fuck that country. Because they are part of this whole nonsense as well. Why are they the only country that we can't talk about badly, but we can talk about every other country on the planet but them? They're passing laws so that we can't talk out against them. This is a problem. And if I'm ostracized and I'm excluded from people and hang out with them, so be it. I will be okay. A lot of us will be okay. The fact, guys, that they want you to feel needed, they want you to feel included, is part of the psychological operation. Because so many people were scared to be on their own. Were scared to stand against the current. So many people were scared of it. So many people were to go against the crowd. A lot of people are scared of doing that. Well, guess what? There are a lot of us that are not. And a lot of us are going to start making a stand, making the strongest stand, because something has got to give. Some of these people have to wake up from the psychological operation, because this brainwashing is getting way too out of hand. When you start defending pedophiles and you start agreeing with the president who's protecting these people, you're part of the problem as well. This is the Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching.